Hello, everybody, and welcome to my first podcast called The Rasa Show. I am Rasa, and I'm a professional dancer. Now, I truly believe that in order to enjoy life to the fullest, you have to look after your mind, body, and soul. And this is what this podcast is for. We're going to interview a lot of people that are actually going to help us with that. And of course, I have a lot of ideas and opinions of my own, and I needed somewhere to share it. So here we are. Now, I really hope you can find this place a home for you that will expand your mind and hopefully will make you chuckle or think. And now we can go straight into the first interview because I am a dancer. I thought we have to have our first person that we talk to, a dancer too. So without further ado, let's start the interview. All right, so I'm super excited to have this guest on my new podcast, The Rasa Show, and she is an incredible dancer. We personally connected through salsa many years ago. We're not going to say how many because I don't remember. But we connected through salsa, but she's more than a salsa dancer. She's trained in ballet, in jazz, in theater, and so many other things that I think is so appropriate to have her here. And for today's topic as well, I think she's perfect because she's not for me just a dancer. She is an artist and she speaks with her mind, her soul. She has so much to offer, so much knowledge. So I'm super excited. Welcome, Emanuela.
Thank you so much. Thank you, Rasa.
So, before we even get started to any questions or anything, I would like you to tell the audience a little bit more about yourself and how you started your dancing. When, how old you were, what kind of dances, and where you are right now.
All right. So first of all, thank you so much for the introduction. It is an honor for me to be the first speaker in your podcast, and the respect is very much reciprocal. Also, we had, I think, some sort of like common path because we both have been in a city which was Leeds, which is also where I started teaching salsa in the UK, right? So, and I have always looked up for the way you establish yourself as a solo woman in salsa, as a leader and as a follower, and I really always admire that because not everybody, actually not really anyone in the UK does that.
Thank you very much.
I also respect you.
Well, podcast is finished. We're gonna stop right here while it's still good. No, please continue. Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
All right, so I take it a little bit further on what how it started in terms of before any kind of academic background or starting to study dancing in terms of like discipline, right? Because I think it's really important that also for people that maybe are in the youngest age to understand that a gift is a gift and you have it even before that you train it, right? And so I have started dancing when I was really young, maybe 4 or 5, so before any kind of academic training. And my parents understood that there was a frenetic will for myself to move whenever I would listen to music, right? And it wasn't just something that I would do normally in a room or, like I would hide myself. It would be a very like open sense of freedom. It could be that a lot of people were in an open space and the music would go and then I would start dancing, right? So it was something that somehow in a very innocent way, because I was really young. I was literally just a baby, right? And also in my family, there's nobody who has an artistic background, but I have a cousin that is at the time was a gymnast.
Okay.
And she was the first one that asked me to go on stage with her. So she made a little choreo and we went into a stage, but I was maybe 5. Okay. And I remember that was my first experience that it made me feel that little task that I had, it was something that the feeling of doing it, it was one of the best things. And I was really little. It never left me.
That's so cool.
Yeah. So I have started to study formally ballet and modern dancing in a local school, very little local school. But I was really lucky because the teacher in there, she was somebody who could. First of all, she was very rigid. Type of instructor, right? She's actually passed away, but I know that she's listening everything I say about her.
Be careful then, huh?
So I was lucky because she gave me a very rigid structure as a dancer in ballet and in modern dancing, and she was the first that saw potential in me. And when I was 11, she basically proposed to my parents to let me audition for in Italy we have a college called the National Ballet for dancing. Is based in Rome city center, but it's one of those things that again where at that age if you don't have a guide from your family, if you don't have somebody who really pushes you to go there, you're too young for them, and you just take somebody who is too young, you put it in an academy, you don't know what it's gonna look like. So I remember those paperwork being there forever, and my parents didn't take into account. So, and I never forgot it. I still remember the way they look like, right? And it was definitely maybe a missed opportunity. Anyhow, from there, I have obviously continued to dance. I have always been in training. I started to study in different places, and I was already performing. I was performing in the national scene, like doing show groups, and we would go in a lot of different places and theater. And then I got close to hip hop. And this
from ballet to hip hop is like it's
ballet, modern dance, and then I got close to this hip hop thing, and I actually competed for 2 years.
Wow.
Yeah. So we used to compete as a part of a group, and that gives you a lot of discipline because hip hop as well. It has a strong culture. So it's not just in terms of like choreographing, being part of a group, being dancing as a part of a group. It can be quite tricky. But it's also because hip hop has got so much culture, and you have to stick to that culture if you want to win competition. People maybe sometimes they take that for granted, but hip hop is
because it looks like fun, locking, whatever, but there's actually a lot of structure there as well.
Absolutely. So then I moved to Rome because I was also studying other things, and I have started to train with a very important company in Italy for contemporary dancing. The choreography is one of the most visionary, I think, all over the world. And I got a very strong training in contemporary, and I was doing little projects. I used to do little things around, but again, it was never something that I thought I would completely pursue as a kind of an holistic thing. And this is very much because I came from a family that didn't give me that imprint, right? And, it was a big part of my life. It was already a style of life, but it wasn't everything, okay? So, and it was only in 2009 that I met the first person that got me close to salsa. Yeah. So in Italy, just to say a little bit, so in Italy, salsa is cultural.
Right.
It's almost like jazz here. So here, jazz is the big traditional thing, is what you study.
The musicals and stuff.
Absolutely, in the college. So in Italy, when I have got close to it, Cuban salsa was already huge because we have a lot of Cubans all over. And Adolfo Indacocea, which is today one of the major mambo exponents, he was just getting, I think, in Milan. So personally, I got my first exposure to this person, which actually was an absolute, he has been the first ballet dancer in one of the most prestigious company in Cuba. So I was really lucky. And I started to work a little bit with him as his partner. He taught me a lot of Afro-Cuban, Orishas, for people like that don't know, but Afro-Cuban, it's something that, you know, it's like almost like in ballet, you have to study the whole position, first, second, and all that. So for us, Afro-Cuban, even one movement, you will go and do the same thing for like 5 months.
Yes. We talk with my students as well about Afro-Cuban as well, how difficult it is and how it's so different than the partner work, Cuban partner work in general, that Afro-Cuban is a completely different story.
Because it's got a lot of it's got a lot of link to spirituality.
Sure.
So you don't necessarily so you have to learn. We don't learn to dance on numbers in Italy. We learn to dance on instrument. When you go and study Cuban salsa, we study on the clave or on the conga, right? When you go Orisha, we study on the drums or on the right. So and it was actually only when I came to the UK that when I also started to teach, I would teach in numbers, right? But it's something that came with, I think, with Salsa on One, LA, they introduced, and then obviously editors, they introduced Mambo, Salsa on Two. He defined the timings 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7, right?
Yeah.
So, and this is how I started in salsa, and I started to train. Then I won one championship national in a couple.
Okay.
In a couple of salsa portoricana. And that's it. I mean, it was.
And how did you come to UK then?
Yeah, exactly. It was only when I came to the UK, and I came here actually for a little bit because I wanted to learn English. I want to have a different kind of experience, but it was only here. And again, I think this is important for like if the audience is very broad to understand that if something is for you, it will knock.
Yeah.
Right. I remember that I met people that they were not in the salsa scene, but they were the people who made me understand that I needed to explore this artistic thing, this dancing thing a little bit more holistically. So in 2015, I started to dance in the UK. I started to teach for the first time in the UK, in Leeds. I created my group. You know, when I did my first class, I had already a lot of people. It was meant to happen, basically. It flew because people really didn't know me, right? And I created this first group. I was doing a little bit of choreography, and I had my study was very much already of a fusion because obviously I was already starting to study salsa on two around with Adolfo. I had been also in New York. I studied with Nelson Flores and editores. And this is how it started. I got my first international gig in 2016 in Romania, and I presented my first salsa solo. And since then, the rest was history because thankfully, and I am very grateful, in salsa, I had an amazing career. I have traveled the world from 2016 until the COVID. Literally, you know, I have been working in the national territory in all over the world for SPK festival and some very big one, but also for any type of academies. And I have been also lucky to meet my ex-dance partner Tamba, which, to be honest, he has a different background, but he was the reason why I could really understand the social side of salsa, because Tamba is, for me, one of the best leaders, somebody who can really make you understand what it means to be a follower in the salsa social dancing, right? And I will be always great.
And also talking about Tamba, we talk about salsa now. So salsa, one of the most important components is the social aspect, right?
Absolutely.
So he's actually really good, and I admire him for actually connecting with the people and making everybody dance.
Yeah.
Like he's not that just professional dancing, you know, like just the cool people. He actually is all about making everybody dance and connect, which is an amazing thing.
Yeah. So and also obviously from a business perspective, you know, Tamba has always been somebody who has a very, I don't know, maybe we will touch on this, but I think in this business, you need to be really honest. right? You need to be strong, you need to know who you are and how much is your value, but you also need to be really respectful of people around. And it really taught me a lot of things about dealing with people, creating your own,
Yes.
brand. So we did it together. We traveled the world. I think we touched so many people. I remember, we've been in places where you would turn around from where we were teaching, and we had so many souls. And today, when I think back about it, I just say, "Oh my God, what a beautiful life that we were doing, right?"
It's a wonderful experience. Not everybody gets to experience that, at least, especially not from the position that you are in. You know what I mean? Amazing. Absolutely. So now, we already know that she's qualified. She's done it all. So I have this topic in my mind, and why I want to ask this topic of you, because of course we could talk on so many different subjects, and maybe we'll bring her back if she comes back and talk about other subjects. But because you're such a, for me, an intellectual and a spiritual in terms of dancing and so many things, I think this topic is a perfect topic for you. So what I wanted to ask is, what do you think is the actual purpose of a dancer and a dance teacher? And is the purpose the same? And is it also different between the genres of dance? Like different types of dancing.
Okay, this is obviously, it's a very also, I think, individual type of question, but the way I feel to answer is that for me, the way, so it depends really how you live dancing, because dancing for me represents truthfulness. Whoever approach dancing, whether it's for fun, as a joy, for you to express yourself in the social dance floor, for having fun, to connect with other people, whether you do it professionally, as a teacher and all that. For me, dancing represents truthfulness, and the purpose, it cannot be disconnected from who you are. So what I'm trying to say is that the level of purpose that you give to what you do in dancing is the level of purpose that you have in yourself.
Oh, wow. Say that again, please.
So the purpose of dancing, and we can explore, I can brush this a little bit, is as it cannot be disconnected from your own purpose as a human being. The more you actually allow yourself to be true, independently from the money you have to make if you do it for profession, independently from the political side of this business, and independently from the trend, the more you allow yourself to discover why is it. Because
I just got goosebumps. I swear to God, my God, I'm telling you, I love this woman. I just got goosebumps. Please continue. Sorry.
Okay. I actually let me finish. I was telling you because this is not about, and without taking anything away, please, from any other profession. In the dancing world, it will come a point, if you do this professionally, right? But again, I will touch on the just amatorial, for fun. It will come to a point for all of us in which you're gonna say, "Why am I doing this?" Because the journey is hard. The journey is gonna come to a point where you have to remember the reason why you started, and it's not gonna be like having a 9-to-5 job. But you're gonna have to stand up, believe in yourself, remember what it is that I am doing this for. And for me, it's very simple. It's to serve. It's to serve your purpose to the world. It is a selfish thing, because maybe in my case, for example, I can say that for me, as an artist, I use dancing because for me, it has always been the most natural tool for me to express myself and connect with people. But it's a way to create. It's a way to create something that, before it used to be, maybe because I was younger, it used to be a creation that could be more of like, something beautiful. Then as I grown as an artist, I had a really deep feeling that I wanted to portray a message. And I don't know if we're gonna talk about it, but for me there was a big change in the way I felt. My purpose about creating it wasn't anymore just about making steps and doing a show. I needed to represent something that was valuable to me. And I think it's very important that you know who you are and how much of that truthfulness you want to reflect in what you do. As a teacher, even more, because in teaching, you are an educator.
Yes.
And you have the power not only to teach steps, not only some people are really good at doing that, they know that that's what they do, and they have all respect for those teachers, but you actually have the power to actually influence. Maybe if you are a teacher, for example, for academies, right, you have the power to really be also somebody who will coach people from a mindset point of view.
100%.
I mean, if you actually are an artist in the theater world, the people get so much rejection. And the people, the young generation, they have to be trained to know that has nothing to do with you.
Yes.
The fact that you're gonna get rejected, that is part of the industry, has nothing to do with who you are. And that's a big responsibility. So your purpose could be actually to give that to your students, right?
Yes, yes.
And for an artist, right, for me, it happens many times that I wanted to represent things. I remember when we had COVID, I made this little production called Experience with the music of Ludovico Einaudi, which I have hoped to find dancers to dance it for me, because for me, nowadays, I think I am more about being a creator. I would love so much to have a company of dancers that can dance my stuff, and I can be on the creational side. And I wanted to represent this journey of going through a phase of darkness, but then at the end you will see the light. And it was more important for me to do that than getting the gigs. But
Yes,
then
yes.
again, it's a risk, right? Does it depend on the style? Yes. So for me, with all respect that I have for salsa, I think you need to know again, it's a risk when people know you so well. Like in my case, people knew me so well for salsa. And when they started to see me doing this jazz, they got scared. A lot of people, I lost many students, I lost many gigs. And if this is gonna be into the organizer, with all respect for the organizers, because I've always been treated with so much, dignity and truthfulness, they have started to wonder what exactly was going on with me.
But why do you think they got scared that you started doing jazz and incorporating that?
Because when I would go to dancing to the workshops teaching, the people would not necessarily be able to receive it, because jazz is very technical. When I decided to have that little part, like when after the COVID, I started to study this musical theater thing, and I had to make myself silent. I would enter, put my head down, and learn from scratch. My feet would be, for example, in salsa kind of like
turned out.
And the teacher would say to me, no, this is not what we use in jazz, right? So it's almost like asking your body to do a completely different thing. But then for me, I never wanted to necessarily be in the West End, right? Although today I think differently. It was more because I wanted to use that as a possibility to express myself broader, because with salsa style, I couldn't just express, something that talks about your connection with God or whatever. I needed something stronger. And even if I am to choreograph, I have to tell the dancer what we're doing. So I had to put myself down there. But it was a risk. I actually myself been in a very tough situation when I was losing everything. It hasn't been an easy journey, right? It's a risk that you take, but I could.
But the point is that if you do what is true to you, you can last longer. Because if you're just doing what you think you should be doing just to get the next gig, as you say, we do come to a place, every artist comes to a place where you think, why am I doing it again? Because you start dancing not because of the money you're gonna make, because usually you don't make money. You make money to survive. I mean, some people who do well for themselves is a minority who make like incredible amounts of money because they dance. So you're already choosing this from a different place, not because it's wise thing to do. It's not. But so you need to stay true to yourself, and as you say, you need something to fill you so that you could have more to give. So if you only do what you think you should do rather what you really are inspired to do, what's the point?
Yeah, but it comes with pain, right? Because imagine that you see a lot of people that they lose interest. I think the hardest part in my case was to lose students, because for us students are really important. Yes. Right? But here, for example, as I also taught in America, in New York, but here it opened me a different door because the academy saw the jazz, and here they allow me to work with kids. Even if it's a fusion with the Latin, it's a fusion. Yes. Because this style that I use as to keep my, I'm open to teach anything, salsa on two body movement, lady style, like the old fashion of Emanuela was very much an Afro-lyrical band, right? But nowadays I like to put this Latin jazz, but it allows me to get close to kids, right? Which is one of the things that, for me, as you age, you also have different...
I don't know what you're talking about. I will stay like this forever, okay?
For sure we will. At least mentally we will all...
Through dance, we stay younger.
Yeah.
No, but isn't it a great point that in the moment when you've chosen to do something different, you were losing people, and it was very painful and very scary, and it's like... does that mean I'm doing something wrong or something? But by being true to yourself, it opened the door to another thing that gives you even completely different fulfillment, working with children and stuff.
Yeah, it's also, I didn't touch on that, but London is a very competitive place.
Oh yeah.
And this is another thing that in dancing happens. So most of these people that I used to study with, and they are absolutely incredible. If you're gonna watch the podcast, you know that I adore you.
You're amazing.
You are amazing, and they had some sort of competition because they knew I wasn't just a student. They knew that I was gonna go about and have my own. But the thing is, for me, I never wanted to copy anything. I wanted to use the technique to create something. I had moments in which I have doubt my ego, not my craft, because my craft, it's what I do. If you don't like it, am I gonna try and improve in a way that I can more teach the ABCD, understand how? But the ego, because you have to be careful as an artist that you don't get too much trapped in what you do, because today I say, if I have an idea that is innovative, as it happened, because 2 years ago when I started to do this Latin jazz, then everybody also, I cannot do name, but it became a big of a brand. But for me today, I say no negativity. If you have an idea, somebody else take it and make it bigger, that's good enough.
Yes, absolutely. Well, let's segment a little bit now to, it's kind of the same but a little bit different. Since you are a woman and I'm a woman, and when I started dancing salsa, I was one of the very few women who were leading and doing the same as usually the men were doing. You are a woman, so I'm interested in, what do you think, how has it been for you? Is it as easy, you think, to get the jobs as a woman as it is for a man? And do you get paid? You don't need to say how much, of course, but do you get paid as much as a man start with the salsa scene, and
Yeah.
then different
Okay.
dances probably have different structure.
So again, here we not playing politics. We just saying things as they are in salsa. As a woman, I would say that people have to work to earn their respect. I know you did. I know that there's a lot of women salsa artists out there that they really pushed for that. It is possible, but in salsa, especially, the environment is pretty much of a man environment, right? So for you to stand as a solo artist, you need to be really strong. You need to have good connection. You need to be good at having good marketing skills and also negotiation skills. It is a tough environment.
Yes.
You can be as good as you want, but if you also not necessarily somebody who has patience to develop a certain type of relationship, you're gonna fade out with the time.
Yes.
Or you might have to, be always next to a man, which is nothing bad because it's good to work with a man, right?
But it's not always possible.
It is not always
Relationships
possible.
break. What if you can't find the good partner or something? It's like, what? That I cannot work or dance?
Absolutely. I mean, for me, what I can say, and as I say, I'm not saying this because I know that people will be watching. I have been extremely treated well in the salsa scene. I literally lived out of gigs, from when we start traveling, either with Tamba but also by myself. In 2000, before the COVID, I had my whole year by myself because at the time I split with him. I had big congresses. I knew I didn't need to do anything else in order for me to live decently. I have established myself very well, but also I have been treated with a lot of respect. I work my ass off. I all the craft that before for me today when I watch my video I think right
you always do. Anybody who's watching, if you look at your work back, you cringe.
You do. But at the end of the day, people loved it. And, for me, what I was doing at the time, what I'm trying to say is hard work pays off. You need to know what are your strengths, what do you teach, you need to know it well. Also, you need to have a strong stomach to be out there, right? It's not easy. I mean, I danced in lineups next to Carol Flores, Andres Martinez, Tania Canassa. I have been, with them in many, many congresses as a solo artist, but I was full of strength. I wanted to be there. I knew who I was. It was a different also need for me, right? And the people, the organizer in the salsa world, in the SBK world, apart from the very beginning where I need to establish myself, they have treated me with plenty of respect. And it wasn't something that they necessarily had to do. There is some great people out there. There's some great people that they know how to identify people that really want to have a positive impact, and they let them.
Yeah, I had interesting conversations with different women, and now these days, a lot of women are talking to me how I'm an inspiration. The fact that I was one of the first ones to be leading in the not just doing a solo work, but actually doing the man's work in the salsa scene. But I was like you. I never felt like I pushed through the boundaries because everybody always treated me really nice. And I've always been very spicy. So I've always been fighting mode in general. So I was just fighting all the way through, but I'm fighting through everything just in my character. So I never thought that I'm, breaking some sort of boundaries. I just wanted what I thought I deserved is mine.
Yeah.
I would have done the same with another woman. You know what I mean? If another woman would be fighting for this, I would fight her, but this so happened it was a man.
But you agree.
I never thought about that.
But you agree that it's not an environment. You need to have, you can be strong. It's not an environment where, I mean, even if we we're gonna get there. For example, if you in a different world, for example, at the stage where I am now, you get an agent, and then you can try to get different type of work. For example, in the theater, in the movies industry, if you get a contract, you get good contract, you
Yes,
get
yes.
projects and everything. But there is less fighting. Unless you go for audition, in the audition, but then
Yes.
somebody select you. But in our case,
Yes.
we
would be even sitting in the room with all of the people and literally with the promoter, and we would have to fight for an hour when we're going to be teaching a type of class we're going to be doing. When you're going to come around, everything has to be negotiated, then pushed, then reconfirmed. Then again, behind your back, you talked about it. Next thing you know, it's like nothing happened. You have to go again and say, we actually talked about this, remember?
I think
and over and over again.
I think like now that I am also interfacing with artists from a different industry, people don't realize what it means to work in the SDK scene.
Yes, it's
When
different.
It is different. It is a very it could be a jungle, right? Where you have to really stand your honestly, it's and coming from there it can only get I wouldn't say easier, but I would say, like nowadays for me, if I find a place like as a teacher and choreographer for an academy, I'm
settled.
I don't have to go around, of course, I mean, there's still a lot of, I have obviously plans and ambitions, but it is the SBK scene. When I look back, I thought, wow, that was...
Oh, wow, it is. Now, Emanuela,
Yes.
we do have actually a lot of people. We've been posting that you're going to be doing this podcast. So we have a lot of people that actually ask questions. So I feel like I don't want to take away all the questions, and I want them to be heard as well. We're only going to do like 3.
Okay.
Let's go with 3, okay?
Yeah.
Okay. We're going to do 3, and the rest who we will not do, we're going to make a separate video just for answering questions. So don't worry, if your name is not going to be called, we're going to make a video and we're going to answer. We're going to keep it for a little bit longer. But for now, you have this little tiny little pot because I did it very nicely, and you get to pick. You pick, I read.
Should I take the one that are more exposed? No, let's take the one that are invisible.
The invisible one. Okay, let me read it out to you.
Sorry.
Because I wrote it, so you might not even understand what I wrote. Okay, so a question from Marchella Geronti.
Wow.
Is that Italian?
I think so.
Marchella Geronti.
Yeah, probably. But it doesn't come to my head, right away.
Maybe it's how I pronounce it.
I don't know.
Geronti. I'm so sorry if you know Italian. Please, if you're watching this, comment where you're from. Okay, so the question is how to improve posture for dancing. That's a very interesting question.
Right. For dancing
in general, how to improve posture.
I think you have to work quite a lot on your center equilibrium, right? One thing that I know that by myself that it helps a lot, it's by, first of all, I use a lot mirrors because it helps when you look at the mirrors. I would say things that really help your body center to be in the center, so that you know and understand where your weight is and everything. Obviously, there are things that also stretching exercise that you can do, especially if we are talking about the different type of posture, right? For example, in general, if we are talking about having a nice open chest and the shoulder nice and down, I would say stretching exercise like that you can stretch your back, backward and putting your shoulder down, right? Stretch completely.
I need. Okay, for this question, we will even need to do a special video at some point.
I think we will.
So stretches.
I would say stretches. I would say. And try and understand, a lot of this balance work, it can be done even just by standing on the ground. closing your eyes and understand where you are in relation
And
with
finding
your
that
body,
in your center.
in your center.
That's a
It's
good
It's
exercise.
a core, and I think use. I mean, if you can, also use the mirror, trying to see yourself. And I mean, posture, it could be also a little bit of a arm work, so you have to work on your arms. Yeah.
No, it's good. So we have close your eyes, find your balance, and find where your center is. Stretching to open the chest,
Yes.
and watching yourself in the mirror. When you can see yourself in the mirror, you can see where your posture is, so you
Yeah.
have something to work on.
Also, I hope you always try, even when you sit down, not to sit down like this. I mean,
Yes.
you always want to be happier, right? So you
Yeah,
want
even
to
when
feel-
you see I have my leg on, but I'm trying to keep myself straight.
Yeah, you have to do when
Because
you
it has to be muscle, you know, like it
Yeah.
has to be more or less natural. Because
Yes.
to remember every time to be straight is
Yeah.
hard.
But once you do it, then
Exactly,
it becomes
exactly.
natural, right? I think
Very nice. All right, question number 2, your little pot.
Let's take a big one.
The big one now. Oh, okay, we resisted the first time, but now. And this one is from Justin.
Okay.
And Justin asks, as a professional dancer, how do you train partner dance without a partner? So basically, how do you practice, you know, dances like salsa dance or bachata or whatever, but you don't have a partner to practice with?
Well, I mean, there are things, for example, I remember when I used to do a lot of shows, but I wouldn't rehearse with my dance partner. There were things that you can do by yourself. For example, you know, if it doesn't matter to do a preparation for the
That's the
spinning, the spins, the turns. You can practice them by yourself, but you need to have also a strong. I mean, you still need to go to class, practice with your teacher, with the other people, and then when you have your own practice session, you try and adapt all those things. Actually, I learn most of the time. I remember even Tamba used to teach me those exercises to do everything that you do in partner work by yourself. Because actually, when you should never be of a weight for your partner, right?
Yes.
Even actually like things like little lifts, you know, like pirouette,
Yes.
spin, and then like down.
Yes.
I would suggest that obviously don't get injured. You know, it's based on also your abilities.
Small.
Start small, right? But
Don't do a triple pirouette into a split just yet, Justin.
yeah, and I would say, yeah, practice that way. Get
And footwork, right?
footwork, yeah, absolutely.
Shifting
yeah.
weight, and I always say if you can do good footwork on your own, if you can spin on your own, you will be better in the partner work. You can't practice connections without another person, you know, the holding hand situation. But to know your steps and visualize it, you can definitely do.
Absolutely. Maybe even if you want to do a little, we always talk about styling and everything, all that kind of styling work, the hands work,
absolutely.
a little bit of steps to understand, you know, when you have a moment of you enjoy not to be connected in your partner with your partner during social dancing, you can also work on that. There's a lot of things. I mean, I have not had a partner for a long time, but I still, when I go and I dance in partner work, I mean, I think my technique is very strong. Even
Of course.
Yeah.
And you can carry your own weight. And you can,
Yeah,
as a leader,
absolutely,
Justin, if you're leading, you can look after your follower better if you already
a
comfortable
strong
with your
follower,
own. Yeah.
you know, especially when you train for turns, for spinning. If you train by yourself, your core is gonna be so strong. They don't need any energy, any force for you to. Yeah.
Nice one. Okay, this is the final one for now.
Oh shit.
Okay, final one. Which one? Which one?
This.
This one. Okay. This one is from Laura La Bailarina.
Yeah.
Okay, so
I
she.
know her.
Yes, you do. I think I know her too. Hi, Laura. So she's asking, who is your biggest influencer or who inspires you the most? A person. Try to have one or two.
Right.
I know many people inspire you, but like one or two.
I would say that in the latest stage of myself as an artist, my biggest inspiration is Sonia Tai, which is a choreographer from New York. She's the choreographer of Moulin Rouge, the original choreographer.
Ooh.
I had the opportunity to see most of his work. She is able to, she will never just take a project that hasn't got a meaning in her heart. I have seen a show that she did for autism, to represent autism. It took my heart away from my stomach. So these nowadays are really the type of creators that really inspire me. Rasa inspires me.
Oh,
so much.
stop it.
Because people don't understand actually not what it means to stand your ground, to actually be able even to take the lead as a leader. You know, for me, it was something that I think we had this conversation right offline. You know, when it comes to salsa as a woman, if you are able to not just be a follower but a leader, then you can really make the difference, because it's how you really can teach how to connect, how to,
Yes.
you know, especially when it comes to salsa. And you know, for me, this is I would say, yeah, as a creator, yeah, as a dance singer, nowadays I feel my biggest inspiration in technique, in fluidity, musicality is Megan Sonnett. She's a jazz dancer. I like to watch many of the stuff, but I believe in general any dancer, and especially when they are dancers that they don't have to have all that.
Isn't that interesting? Sometimes, you know, you watch somebody and they're not the best dancers,
No.
but they gave something of themselves and that moment, and it touches you, and you're like, wow, I really like that.
Absolutely. I mean, that's exactly what we're talking about. And the other way around, you could have people that are really technical, but not necessarily are gonna like
Catch you.
captivate.
That's
you,
right.
Right. So yeah, I would say this.
Nice. Well, it is that time. I think we talked enough for the first podcast. But can I just say, I think you're amazing. I'm going to tag all of her details. And guys, don't go anywhere yet. If you are just listening, make sure you come to actually watch it. But I wanted to make sure that after every podcast, you actually get something and not just a conversation. So she's going to stick around and she's going to show you like a very short little kind of move step thing situation that you can actually learn and practice and add on to your dancing. And it doesn't matter who you are, you can actually have a look and maybe get a little bit of inspiration, maybe learn it, maybe practice, maybe just watch and drool over how she does it. But for now, I want to say thank you so much for being the first person on the podcast. I love you as a dancer, and I think you have so much to offer from the bottom of your heart, from your stomach, from your head. You are fabulous.
Thank you so much.
Very
Thanks so much. I
Rana.
appreciate it. And the same for me. I adore it too. Thank you.
Thank
you so much. Hi there, this is Emanuela, and this is follow-up our podcast with Rasa. I'm just gonna go through a very little section of a routine. And if you are interested to know about my classes, workshops, or private classes, or anything I do, you can contact me directly, okay? Let's go. So I'm gonna step forward with the right, I'm gonna dance salsa 1, 2, I'm gonna turn around, yes. I'm gonna go in, 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, open on 7. Now, when I open on 7, my knee is slightly open, yes, so 45 degrees. And my weight is on the left. I'm going to use my right to step on it, and then whatever I'm going to use my left to create a little circle on the floor and come back into that direction. Whilst I do that, my leg is bended and my foot is pointed. It is going to basically be forming a little tracer circle. And one more thing is that my head is missing, okay? like that. Or maybe less. It depends on your ability or how you want to make it look like. Plus, whilst I do that, my eyes are on activities. Yes? Let's go. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Step 4 on my left and step 5 in my right. Now my right is completely straight and my foot is pointed, and I'm going to go a little bit, my hands are here. I'm going to explain it after that forward. So my hands are here. Also, if you have a little bit more stability and you want to, this can lift up, yes? Like that. So let's get go from the top. In 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I'm gonna go E 1, 2, 3, 5. Step back, 6. Come back. Now I'm gonna go back. Yes. So I'm in 1, 2, 3, 5, 6. Now in 7, I'm going to use my rib cage to come back. My left side of the rib cage including my shoulder. See here to come back. 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. One more time. So in 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. On this side, I'm gonna go in 1, 2, 3, 5. Ahora. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 5, 6, 7. 1, 2, 3, 1 more time. 6, 7. That was it. I hope you enjoyed it. Keep dancing, keep expressing yourself as best as you can. Ciao!